All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's special occasion. Just an idea of how everything's going to go. We'll start with opening statements, and then we'll open it up to questions. And we'll get it started with Celtics co-owner and governor, Wyc Grousbeck.
It's a great day to be a Celtic, and we welcome another Celtic to the family, our 18th head coach from Portland, Oregon, through Spain, Gran Canaria, San Antonio, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Team USA, and now the Boston Celtics. It's a distinct pleasure and honor to welcome Ime Udoka and Nia Long to the Celtics family. We're here to win Banner 18 together, if we possibly can. I know Ime will do everything he can to make that happen. He's characterized in my mind by extreme insight, character, integrity, drive, commitment, passion, great training, and a burning desire to win. So I want to welcome you and thank you for believing in us, and we believe in you, and here we go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll now go to Celtics co-owner and alternate governor, Steve Pagliuca.
Just so excited to be here with Ime and Nia and welcoming you to the Celtics family. Your life has been characterized by hard work, lots of success, and hard work and teaching. If you talk to people around the league like Popovich and Coach K, they say you're an amazing person, amazing teacher, and you're going to really fit with this ball club of fantastic young players. So we're so excited here to welcome you here to Boston, and so excited that you and Nia are here today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Celtics president of basketball operations, Brad Stevens.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo both Wyc and Steve's sentiments. We're really excited to have Ime as our next head coach, not only from the standpoint of all the experiences that he's gained as a player, as a coach, at different levels of FIBA, at different levels of the NBA, overseas, etc. But he is just an authentic, super person. And, I think one of the things that, as we go through this journey together, that you really want to share that with people that you're excited to work with every day. And I can tell you from, myself to the staff in the building, to the players, we're all excited to do that and go on this journey led by Ime. And so it is a great privilege to be sitting next to him. It's been a great journey to get to know him way better than I knew him as the guy that was yelling out our play calls in the Philly and Brooklyn series the last 2 years. And I'm really looking forward to working with him. And so I'll turn over the mic to him, but we're thrilled that Ime chose to join us.
And hopefully our 18th coach for our 18th banner. That would be good symmetry there.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, let me thank Wyc, Steve, Brad. It's an honor to be part of this historic franchise. And in our conversations, in the interviews, the Zoom interviews, it was pretty evident and clear early on that me and Brad had a pretty good connection. Then when I got with the whole crew, Allison as well, it was their passion that was attractive to me. Obviously, the roster is great, but the relationships I have with those players, and it's easy to see why this organization has been so successful. The people I've met today, it takes me to my San Antonio days, and whether it's Philadelphia, Brooklyn, good people in a good building, and I look forward to having success with you guys. The relationships have been great, and I look forward to building those. But as far as the players in the roster, I'm very excited, honored to be part of it. And like you said, let's go for 18.
All right. We'll now open it up for questions, and we'll start with John Corrales.
Hey, Ime, welcome to Boston. You've had 3 distinct stops before getting to Boston and San Antonio, Philly, and Brooklyn. What did you learn from each of those situations that's going to shape who you are as a head coach?
Well, in general, obviously, my time in San Antonio was special. You know, I mentioned to this group, I've been cut more as a player than I had guarantees, and my guarantees were in San Antonio as a player. And then spending 7 years there with Coach Popovich kind of laid the foundation of who I want to be as a basketball coach. He told Brad some things, obviously, to make me look good to get me here, but those pieces will carry me throughout my career. Obviously learned things from Philadelphia and Brooklyn as well. And just working with different superstars, different levels, and the relationships I built with our guys, with Team USA and the select team in general, I think all that will help me move forward. But totally excited. We have 2 young pillars that I'm excited to work with, a young crew of first-round picks that we need to accelerate their development, and I'll take something from all those stops as I did as a player, coach as well, and look forward to having success with our guys.
Mark Murphy.
Hi, Ime. Welcome aboard. You talk about how well you already know some of the young guys in this team. I mean, the fact is that Jason and Jalen in particular, they're 24 and 23 years old. Just how much do you think they've just scratched the surface of what they can be?
Well, it's huge. It's something that you see, and the perception of them outside of this organization is all NBA level players, MVP caliber players, and getting to know them over the last few years, you've seen their growth. They've taken huge leaps this past year, and we look forward to them continuing in that progress. It's my job to put them in situations to be successful, push them to be greater, and like I said, the sky's the limit with those guys. When all the job openings happened this summer, I think it was pretty evident that Boston is the most attractive based on the organization, the history, the expectations, but also the players in the roster. When you have 2 foundational young pillars like those 2, it's exciting to build around them, continue to help them grow and reach their potential. So sky's the limit with those 2. We're excited to work with them and continue to see them grow throughout their career.
Brian Robb.
His question for Ime, just following up on that, you spent obviously time with Jalen, Jason, and Marcus Smart at the 2019 World Cup. What was your experience just firsthand working with those guys in that atmosphere? And have you started reaching out to those guys and other players on the team already since you've been brought aboard here?
Yeah, I've talked to quite a bit of the players so far. I was with Al for 1 year in Philadelphia. Know Peyton Pritchard since he was a young kid in Portland. But we've all talked already. They're excited. I thank them for the kind words they said about me, pushing me. And it was a natural bond with us. Like I mentioned, I was with them with the select team, and they all have different personalities, but we all bonded over that. Coincidentally, I'm here now. Obviously, thought Brad would be here forever, so it was just a natural connection with those guys that I had. And they're going to allow me to coach them, push them. They know I'm going to be on their ass, and that's what they like about me. They've asked me about that. And so they want to be pushed. They want to be directed towards winning, and you expect that from your stars. The character that they showed, like I said, they all have different personality traits. Marcus is one way, Jalen's one way, and Jason is as well. But the bottom line is they want to win and help us get number 18. And so that part was attractive. Obviously, you see the physical talent. Now it's a chance to help them grow, become better leaders, more vocal, and then just continue to push them to be great.
Taylor Snow.
Hey, Ime, welcome to Boston. I actually have a question for Wyc, Steve, and Brad. Just what were some of the qualities that impressed you about Ime as you were going through the head coaching search, and what made him stand out above other candidates?
Well, I know that Brad met with and spoke to a large number of very highly qualified people. That's no exaggeration. That was an exhaustive search led by Brad. But when he called us in and said, we've got to go meet Ime, I'm a guy, I'm perfectly happy speaking 5 or 10 minutes with somebody and that it's a nice conversation. 2 hours went by in a flash. I was ready to go a couple more, ready to be stuck on a coast-to-coast red eye next to him. You know, it just was that kind of electricity. He's so confident. He burns inside with a desire to do even more. He's done so much, but he wants to do even more, and he wants to be here. This was his first choice, and he was our first choice, and it was just as simple as that.
Go ahead.
You know, Ime just really impressed us with his basketball knowledge, but mainly with his empathy and his ability to really care about the players and really care about the strategy and really in his spare time, he spends an enormous amount of time throughout the league, respected by all the players, wants to win, and that kind of standout teaching quality, the quiet but standout teaching quality, really I think attracted us to Ime for this club.
Yeah, and the thing that I would add is I did talk to a lot of people, some that were publicized and many others that weren't. And ultimately, you know, it is an amazing group of talented coaches, whether they've been head coaches before or have not gotten their shot yet, that are out there in the NBA. And so to separate yourself amongst all of them was difficult. But Ime did that. And again, I go back to, he has a great basketball acumen. He's got a great understanding, but that's, to me, something that a lot of people have. It's his authenticity, his ability to be tough and yet very warm, and you know, and it's his experience. And I think not only the experience of playing, but being you know, 8 through 15 on the roster a lot, and then being, you know, in San Antonio for all those years. And then I think the last 2 years, getting a chance to see two totally different things up close in Philly and Brooklyn is a great thing. And so you know, there are all these things, we could go on and on with the adjectives, but that really stood out as separating him throughout this process.
I'll follow up by saying, as I mentioned, when Brad and I spoke over a few Zoom meetings, we were pretty much in alignment right away. When we all sat in person with Wyc, Steve, and Allison, I think their passion stood out to me. And that's not to say rare with the ownership group, but they're basketball guys, and I'm a basketball guy. And what they want for this organization moving forward, it was pretty evident, easy to see. And so I think we all connected well in that first meeting. And like you said, the time flew by. We wanted to talk more, but I just come off a last-minute loss, obviously, against Milwaukee. But I got to put that past me, get to talk basketball, and move forward with this group. And so I
actually wanted to talk about that loss a little more. I mean, nothing personal, but.
Yeah, I was extremely excited, obviously, once I met them in person, and their passion stood out to me from day one. So here we go, we're ready to go, and I think we're all on the same page of what we want to do going forward.
Gary Washburn.
Congratulations, Ime. 2 questions for you. One, you grinded, you paid your dues, you've been an assistant for a long time, but you're not one of the bigger names. People inside the NBA circles know you, but maybe not outside. Did you ever think this day would come? Did you have doubts that you would become a head coach? And secondly, what is your style of play? Do you have a style that you're going to implement, or is it going to be by the personnel? How do you kind of put your stamp on this team?
Yeah, first thing I would say is, you know, this was always my ultimate goal once I started coaching. You know, I learned from some great ones as a player and a coach, and this was a goal, but I was a finalist. I've been interviewing for 3 or 4 years now, and if you would have told me I was going to be a finalist for so-and-so team, or I could wait 2 years and fall into this situation, it would be a no-brainer to me. So I knew it would come, the right situation would come, and this is it. But I'm also not a self-promoter, so I'm not out there trying to be the face of anything. Like I said, I'm all about the players and the organization, and you know, having that unity and selflessness with our organization. So I may not be the biggest name, people inside know me, but that's more so my personality. And then as far as stamp on the team, what I was as a player was a tough, hard-nosed player, defensive-minded, but I love the offensive side as well. I've done defense the last 2 years in Philadelphia and Brooklyn, but for seven years in San Antonio, I was doing offense and defense. And so, you know, we want to have a well-rounded team. Looked at the numbers overall. Sorry to mention this, Brad, but 27th in assists last year. We want to have more team basketball there, but at the same time, you have to understand what your personnel dictates, and that's Jason, Jalen, and guys that can really score the basketball at elite level. So you play toward their strengths. Obviously, we'll have a defensive mentality going in, and you know, I like to try to bring the dog out in guys, and we got some young dogs here, and look forward to pushing them.
And Bontemps.
Ime, I was just curious, after the last 2 years when you spent time with both the Sixers and the Nets. What did you see beyond the assist rate with the Celtics that you thought needed to improve, or what are some of those things you hope to implement now that you've taken over the franchise?
Well, to your point, I got an up close and personal view in the playoffs. Obviously, with Philadelphia last year and Brooklyn this year, so you just see the growth and the potential. You have a lot of young talent that we're not talking about right now. A lot of first-round picks that have talent to. Obviously, we want to expedite their transition and growth. But as I continue to mention the pillars, you got tough, hard-nosed guys. I think a mix of veterans that we'll talk about in free agency, whether it's bringing Al back, Marcus Smart, guys like that. The potential is there. It's just a matter of being consistent. And like I said, I got swept in Philadelphia a year ago, and then we got them in 5 this year. So we've seen both ends of the spectrum. But throughout the whole thing, I saw how Brad pushed him. It was a chess match somewhat with me being a defensive guy, going back and forth with him, adjustment-wise, game after game. But I keep going back to the personnel and the players. That's what makes it so attractive. And look forward to working with Jason over the next month in USA and Tokyo. But in general, I'll be touching down with the guys, being very hands-on. That's not going to change as a head coach, and excited to work with this roster.
Adam Himmelsbach.
Hey, Ime. What kind of things are you going to be looking for as you assemble your staff, and what will your approach be? And do you anticipate retaining any members of Brad's staff next year?
It's been pretty extensive so far, spending a ton of time with that, and me and Brad talking a ton about it, and it's been great. Tons of great candidates out there. Obviously, I've the benefit of being a journeyman and being with so many organizations. You meet a lot of people, and I have a lot of relationships built around the league. The first thing I would say is a hands-on approach with the coaching staff, building the relationships, relatability, and then getting out there and grinding with the guys. And so I'm looking for energy, juice in the building, a great environment to produce winning. And so that's what I'm looking for in my staff and some of the people I've talked to so far. And then in general, just a little bit of mix. Don't feel like I have to have a veteran staff more so than an energetic staff. So I'm looking at both areas. And like I said, a ton of great candidates, and we're kind of nailing that down now as we speak.
Duke Castiglione.
Ime, do you believe this roster is currently constructed you can lead them beyond an Eastern Conference final appearance? You can win an Eastern Conference and play for a championship and possibly win a championship.
Yeah, what I'll keep going back to the talent, and when you have two young pillars at that age, the sky's the limit, and that's what it starts with. You're only as good as your players and where you push them to get to. And we understand, we've talked about this in depth, we have some work to do. And so that's my job, to bring out the best in them, continue to strive for what this organization is about, and it's about winning, getting number 18 in here, and that's our goal. And I think, like I said, we've all been aligned with that in symmetry with what the goal is, and it's not about just getting to a conference finals or doing well in the playoffs. It's about winning a championship. And so anytime you have those young pillars, you have a chance, and I think that's where we're at right now.
Jared Weiss.
You've mentioned pushing the guys several times so far. I'm curious, in your playing career and coaching career, what have you learned from seeing great young players kind of make that leap to championship caliber, and how do you want to bring that in trying to lead these guys?
Yeah, I take it back to my playing days. Whether I was a role player on the team, I always connected well with the guys. When I was with the Knicks, Isaiah Thomas was probably the first coach to mention that I'd be a coach one day. He said, you connect with the young guys. You're not a 25-point scorer, but they relate to you well, and you're pushing them in the right way. So I took that into my coaching career, not just relationship-wise as a player, but as a coach. And talking to Kawhi Leonard as a young guy, and I used to tell him, why wait? What are you waiting for? These guys don't give them too much respect. And I'd say the same thing to Jason and Jalen. The sky's the limit. The fact that you're not all NBA, that should be a chip on your shoulder. You should play with that edge, and you want to prove people wrong. But my message to them would be, why wait? The talent is there. The work ethic is there. It's a chance to be a better leader and more vocal at times, but don't wait for anything. Go out and take it now.
Keith Smith.
Hey, Ime, you've talked a little bit about Jason and Jalen and the guys. What, going against them so much the last couple of years with Brooklyn and Philadelphia, what have you seen from some of the younger guys on the roster that maybe, aren't seen as the all-NBA level type of players?
Well, there's an incredible amount of talent, and I mentioned the former first-round picks, and you can put Peyton in there with Romeo, Aaron, Robert Williams, as well as Grant Williams. It's not just the two superstars and the rest of the team. And like I said, you have a good mix of veterans with Al and Marcus as well, but the young guys, there's a tremendous amount of growth there, potential there. And so we look to push them. Like I said, we want to accelerate their process in becoming, veteran role players with our team eventually and being on the court and doing big things. So the potential is there. And we've done a great job drafting those guys, and now it's, like I said, myself and my staff, it's our job to push those guys to really contribute next year.
We'll ask a couple of questions for this group. We'll go to Adam Himmelsbach.
This question's for Wyc and Steve. Obviously, you guys pride yourselves on organizational stability, and there hasn't been a ton of it the last few years. What do you feel like maybe these past few weeks where it feels like you're kind of putting a foundation down again with some of these moves with the roster and obviously the front office and the coaching staff will do to kind of recapture that and help you move forward?
Great question, Adam. We do pride ourselves on the stability, and actually there has been stability. I think we were one of the few clubs, maybe the only club, that has had only two coaches in the last 20 years and one general manager. And moving Brad, who will be a fantastic evaluator of talent, he's been integrated into the operation, gives us even more stability. And Brad's connection with Ime and the discussions we've had, I think, really does set a solid foundation for the future, and we can build off all the great things that they've done in the last 20 years. And as you can see, Ime is very hungry to be a head coach and hungry to win, and I think that's going to be an amazing fit with Brad and the whole team out here. We've had a stable group of folks, both in the front office and back office, and I hope it stays that way forever. I hope they all live to be 105 years old, and we're sitting here 40 years from now. So very happy with the team and the stability.
Well said.
And final question, Matt Vautour.
Ime, you talked about being on their ass a little bit, and at the same time talked about caring about these guys. How challenging is it to strike that balance, to push a guy at the same time without alienating a guy? And what have you done that makes you feel like that you're a guy that can handle that?
Well, I think it's all relationship based. You got to build that foundation off the court somewhat. Also understand you can't coach everybody the same way. What motivates others might embarrass others, and so you find that balance there. But like I said, it comes down to trust, respect, and being in alignment with our goals. And I think the players, it comes down to their character ultimately also. The way they want to be pushed and taking constructive criticism. And I think we have a group that has done that so far, that the times I've been with them. And I think just in our conversations lately, they're looking forward to that. So it's just striking the balance of knowing their personalities, how they want to be coached. And like I said, we have a willing group, and they've only reiterated that with myself in our conversations lately. So looking forward to it. I'm not worried about our group, worried about hard coaching. They're asking for that, and it's something I'm going to bring to the table.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We'll wrap it up right there.
Good job. That was awesome.
Thank you, man.